Hey everyone, thanks for learning to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm going to be starting a brand new campaign in Isofarian Guard. This is a game that came out about a year ago from Sky Kingdom Games. It is a 1 to 2 player game that takes roughly 1 to 2 hours per session that you play, and the game is going to come with a number of campaigns, and each campaign will take you a few sessions to get through. So with this one, this is currently on GameFound again, seeking funding for the second wave or second printing of their base game, as well as adding some new stuff to this one as well. So if you missed the first campaign and this is one that you're interested in, definitely go check that out. There's about 10 days left of filming this, so probably about 8 when this goes up. And I'll have a link in the description below, or depending upon when you see this, I'm sure they'll be taking late pledges for a while after the campaign as well. So if this is one that you're interested in, definitely check that out. And let me know in the comments down below what you'd like to see around this. I'm just going to start off the campaign and start the very first chapter of this one and play through some of it and hopefully get through the tutorial mission. But let me know in the comments down below if this is one that you'd like me to continue. I'd love to hear from you in the comments down below if this is something you'd like me to continue as a series. I also was thinking maybe of having some interaction with the audience. So certain times I'll put out polls on certain things that I might want to do or choices that need to be made. And I'll get feedback from you, the audience, and let me know if that's something you're interested in. Maybe we can kind of play through this one together. If that sounds like something you'd like to see, let me know in those comments down below. I'll also have in the description, again, that link to the campaign and all of that. So if you want to find out more about this one, you can do that there. So as always, if you find my videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider that like button and subscribe to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we can continue to grow, be able to produce this content. If you want to stay updated on all my videos, also give that notification bell a ring, and that'll let you know when I drop new videos. So with this one, I am going to point out that I'm not going to read through all of the narrative, and there is a really cool app from the Foretellers. They have a series of narratives that will read through this with their professional voice actors and all that. So that is something that definitely would be recommended to check out if you're not a big fan of reading all of this different stuff and you prefer to have it done by professionals. I am definitely looking at potentially adding that at some point as well. But I'm not going to read through all of the narrative, especially the introduction to this one. So I'll give you a basic synopsis of this one if you don't have the game or if this is one you're interested in. But there's a great amount of story with this as well. It's a narrative campaign, so you're going to be reading through story, making choices, and having different things come up as you play through. But the initial part of the story is that Gregory, he is the captain of this small squad of fighters, and they have ambushed an enemy group and eliminated those enemies. And throughout that, they found a letter that is explaining and talking about the Stoneborn people, where they have abilities and things that they can manipulate and basically have magic in a way. And with that, they don't believe it at first, but then they end up coming across a couple of these glowing stones, and Gregory touches one, and now he is a Stoneborn, so he feels that he needs to go back to the king that he is under and explain this and talk to the king and see and tell him what he has seen with this, as he got some visions when he touched the stone initially of some very dark times ahead. So he's going back to the king to try to warn him, and he's sending the rest of his squad over to another area, and he's hopefully going to meet up with them after that. So from there, then it moves into telling me where I'm going to start. So I'm going to start on node 28. And then he's trying to get back to the narrative disc, which is on 32, which is going to get him back to the kingdom where he's going to be able to talk to the king. So from here, then let's go ahead and jump into the rest of this and see what is going to happen. Okay, so with this one, I already talked about that, and we're looking to try to reach node 32. So in order to do this, we have to move Gregory's chip onto node 30 for first. And again, this is the tutorial campaign, so it's going to kind of talk us through some of this. Then we're going to follow the instructions for the exploration phase, which is on page 18 of the rulebook for more on the exploration phase and what to do when you move on to there. So with the guard, what we're going to do is we're going to draw a token from the bag, and there are 5 different tokens in here. There are 2 compass tokens, and then there are 3 enemy tokens. So during my initial playthrough of this, things were pretty rough, and I found a compass token this time, so lucked out there. During the trial run of this, I ended up pulling, I think the 3-point skull 2 or 3 times through this. It was pretty crazy. All right, so since I pulled the compass token, I get to add a purple cube onto the node where I'm at right now. So we're on the yellow cards for the exploration cards. And if there's 3 of them on there, then I have to reveal that card and handle the effects of it. So from there, then this is going to be added directly back into the bag. All right, so now that I've handled that step, then we're moving on. And if a skull drone is, so it didn't. So once completed, move Gregory's chip to node 31, and then we're going to do this process all over again. So let's see if we get an enemy this time. And we do. We have a single skull, so we're going to consult the index. So let me grab that real quick. So our index book, and we are on node 31. So node 31, a single one is a brigand archer. So I'll be facing a brigand archer. So from there, then I have to pull the cards for that. So brigand archer is here. Nope, that's a chef. Wrong one. Here we are. All right, so and then she has her 8 cards with that. So we'll see how this first combat goes. All right, so with that, we're going to place her on enemy number 1, and then we'll flip these over and shuffle these up. And she has 1 attack, she has 1 defense, she has 1 action cube, and 7 health. So not too bad. So hopefully this will go somewhat smooth. And she is not an ambush enemy, so Gregory is going to get to start the combat. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and draw from the bag, and I'll draw a number of chips based on the number of action cubes that I have. So I'm going to get 2 chips during this initial one, and only black chips count for this. So I have a pair of double swords and a single sword, so all swords this one. All right, so I can always convert 2 of the same symbol to 1 of another symbol. So let me see what I got here. So I have 1 shield that I could activate. This is his guard, and this is well active. I get +1 defense, and I add a green defense chip to the bag. And then I also have a single sword here. Add a green sword chip to Gregory's bag, so that could also be good. Well, let's go ahead and try to go offense here. Now going a little bit of each might not be bad either. So I think I'm going to go ahead and convert these 2 into a single shield, activating his guard. So it says well active, it's going to give him a +1, so now I'm going to be at 3 for defense. And I'm going to add a green defense chip to his bag. And that will cost me 1 action point. And then it also has a chain effect, so if I had activated other cards this turn, then it would have let me add another green defense chip to the bag. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and activate his advance. So this one lets me add a sword chip to Gregory's bag. And chain, I get to add another sword, so I actually get to add 2 because I already activated another ability for him this turn. So that'll take care of that. And then I think I'm going to use his cross slash. So this one is going to attack all enemies, and it gives me +1 attack. So I'm at 4 attack, and her defense is 1, so I'm going to deal 3 damage to her. So 1, 2, 3. So she's at 4 now. All right, and that is pretty much all I can do at this point. So then from there, then she's going to get to go. So she's going to reveal the top card of her deck, and this one is choose a target, lowest health or aggro, and he's the only target out there. So from there, then she's going to attack the target. It's a arrow volley. It's going to cost her 1 action point, and it gives her +2 attack, so she's at 3. If the attack deals damage, draw 1 card. So she's doing 3 damage to me. I have 2 plus my bonus defense, so I'm blocking all 3. So I don't take any damage, and then so it doesn't deal any damage, so she won't draw another card, and so at that point it's going to end her turn. So that worked out really well for me, where I did not take any damage. So at this point, then we're in the cleanup phase, so she's going to get her action point back. I'll get mine. These are going to go into his used area, and then the cards that I activated are going to get flipped over. And then the crystal is going to drop down into the exhausted section, so it takes an additional full turn where this ability won't be able to be used again. So next turn, if she's still around, I could use it again if I wanted to. All right, so from there, now I'm going to go ahead and draw again from the bag. I get 2 chips. There's 1 and 2. All right, so I have 2 swords for this one. So this one costs 2 swords. This is attack one enemy for +2. And it has a chain effect as well. Draw 2 chips from Gregory's bag. But I have to activate another ability before that. And that's pretty much the only one I could activate, as this one is 2 shields, and I don't have that. And this one is a sword and a shield, which I don't have that either. So I will definitely activate the critical strike. It's going to cost me 2 action cubes. And it's going to attack one enemy for +2 attack. So my attack is 3 plus the 2 is 5 damage. She's going to reduce that by 1, taking 4 damage, and that will be enough to take care of her. So I have eliminated the Brigand Archer. So at that point, then I will get to flip her card over, and she's going to get me 2 Lux Essence. So I get to go up 2 on that. And then she's also going to give me 3 Sil. So I get to bump my Sil up to 3. Okay. And then from there, then her deck of cards is going to be returned to the supply. And all of these tokens will be placed back in my bag. The green tokens that I haven't drawn yet will remain in my bag. And then I will return all of my cards back over to the primary side. And then again, I will return her card as well. All right, so I have completed that particular phase. So from there, then let's see what it says there. So once completed, move Gregory's chip to 31 and follow the instructions. Once completed, move Gregory's chip to 32, and then place the Silny mini map on the table and place Gregory's chip on the Silny Seer's Gate, and proceed to page 6 and read chapter 1.2. All right, so I'm going to move to 32, and that's going to bring out the mini map for Silny. So I'm going to go ahead and place that out here, and it has me going in through the Seer's Gate. All right, so from there, then I'll go ahead and read this. This is the Seer's Gate, and this is Gregory. So you round the final bend in the road and see the walls of Silny standing before you. Cradling the city beneath the sheer face of Mount Jarl, you never cared much for the bustle of city life, preferring the company of a few good soldiers and the peace of the wilderness. Still, it has been a long day, and a soft pillow beneath your head would be most welcome. But first, the king. Who goes there? The familiar face peering down at you from the wall is wearing a lopsided grin. You know exactly who it is. Alec, with you guarding the wall, I'm surprised Felmund hasn't already taken the city. Elnick gives a hearty laugh in reply. It's good to have you back, Captain. Open the gates. There is a slight pause before the Seer's Gate cracks open and then swings with a great groaning of timbers. When you step through the gates, Elnick is there to meet you. Where to, Captain? The barracks or the Raven's Beak? Neither, I'm afraid. I must speak to the king immediately. The smile drops from Elnick's face. So you've come upon trouble on your patrol then? Yes, trouble and something else. You suddenly feel self-conscious about being a Stoneborn. You determine not to say anything until the king is notified. I see, says Alec. Keep your secrets then. Let's get you to the king. So then I'm going to move Gregory's chip to Silny, the Castle Streg, and proceed to page 7 and read chapter 1.3. So after passing through the Kayak City streets, you see Castle Streg, rising from above the inner walls. Alec escorts you through the inner gate before passing you off to a member of the Kingsguard. Farewell, Captain. If you get a chance, stop by the barracks before you leave the city. I know the guard would love to see you. Thank you, Alec. I'll be sure to do that when I'm done here. Make sure to keep your eyes sharp on that wall. You return Alec's salute and turn to ascend the steps into the Great Hall. Two more of the King Guard pull open the door open the hall doors, and you are greeted by the booming voice of King Kasht. Gregory, my faithful captain, I am glad to see you, but your early return does not bode well. Tell me what you have encountered out on your patrol. King Kasht's frankness is often jarring to outsiders, but you know that the king doesn't suffer foolish pomp and idle pleasantries. It is often best to get straight to the point. My king, I've ambushed a band of Bittermann soldiers in the mountain passes west of here. Judging by their brazen actions and the material they carried on them, my best guess is that they were stone hunters. Ha, the king bellows. Stone hunters. The king Jarin has gone well and truly mad. He now sends good soldiers to their death on a fool's fancy. My king, you interrupt. I know this sounds unlikely, but King Yoram may not be as mad as we suspect. I have something that will change your understanding of the world. You pause, screwing up your courage before uttering, the Stoneborn are real. King Kasht locks his gaze with you before a new voice breaks the silence. The Stoneborn do not exist. A cloaked shadow emerges from behind the throne. Ah, greetings, Temnaoka. You respond, I was wondering if you would be sulking back there. Such disrespect is unbecoming in one of your stature. I'd be more careful, especially after espousing such heresy. The truth is not heresy. Well then, show us the truth. So then I'm going to choose a path. I can prove to her that you are Stoneborn, which in case then I'm going to proceed to page 9 and read chapter 1.4, or I can speak to King Kasht privately and proceed to page 12 and read chapter 1.5. So I think I'm going to go straight to the king. I don't really feel like I need to explain anything to her, so I'm going to jump straight to page 12. Okay. All right, so we're over here. So I'm not here to prove anything to you, Temnaka. My words are for King Kasht alone. You turn your attention back to the king. I will speak to you privately, my liege. Despite the protests of Temnaka, King Kasht rises and beckons you to his private chamber. He seems out of sorts as he closes the door and turns to you. Not at all the same man you have welcomed, or who had welcomed you to the hall a few moments ago. Gregory, you don't know what this power is capable of. The circle of seers has warned me of the Stoneborn. Your eyes widen in surprise. Yes, despite what Temnaka had said back there, she believes this new power exists, and she fears it. The Stoneborn go against all the teachings of Valdit. By simply existing, the Stoneborn threaten to tear apart our society. Sire, I have never known you to be overly religious, you reply. Would it be so bad if the teachings of Valdit and the Circle of Seers were shown to be false? King Kasht walks to the nearest window and bids you to look out. Have you ever seen anyone lose their faith, Gregory? This may not be surprising to you, but it has been some time since I have given up my belief in the old teachings. Of course, I still play the parts for the people, but I can no longer put my faith in teachings that ring hollow to me. Then denounce the circle and proclaim faith in this new power. King Kasht replies swiftly, No, Gregory, losing my faith nearly destroyed me. Can you imagine what would happen to all of the Isofare suddenly had its entire belief system shattered? Chaos would spill out of every house and into the streets. Brother would turn against brother, and we would destroy ourselves. You give your people little credit. We are strong and resilient. We will rebuild our faith, but this time it will be based on something true. King Kasht turns his attention from the window back to you. My dear captain, how is it that you have come to believe in Stoneborn so fervently? You pause, unsure of how to proceed, but a voice, the voice, reassures you in the back of your mind. You meet King Kasht's eyes and speak. I am Stoneborn. Ah, he sighs. I was afraid you would say that. You may collect your belongings from Fort Starsh. Sir, I am stripping you of your duty. You are hereby banished from Isofare. On pain of death. My king, please. I am not your king any longer. I will not risk the chaos you would have me unleash on this country. Guards! The 2 king's guards burst in and begin pulling you to the door. You cannot avoid the truth, you manage to yell before the guards shove you through the door. You look back to see King Karsh turn back to the window and hang his head. Place a narrative chip on the Silny Castle's gates. Proceed to page 13 and read 1.7. There has always been a rivalry between the Isofarian Guard and the King's Guard. Until now, you assumed it was mostly a friendly one. The 2 King's Guards escorting you out of the city are only too happy to let you know what they really think about the Isofarian Guard and you. Its disgraced former captain. As you approach the King's Gate, the shorter of the King's Guard roughly shoves you through the gate and into the road. You register some final insults being cast in your direction, but you have already picked yourself up and started walking away. Without turning, you sense the 2 guards following you down the road. Hey, Gregory, you don't think we are just going to let you walk away, do you? You keep walking, hoping that their better judgment will prevail. Look at that. Even after being brought so low, he still thinks he's better than us. I think it's time to show him where he really stands. You sigh. This day just keeps getting worse and worse. All right, so this is a battle event. I'm going to place a 1-star King Guard and AA deck on the enemy dashboard slot 1 and 2 of the battlefield and begin the battle. If defeated, I'll have to resolve that, and if successful, I'll resolve that. So let's go ahead and grab that. All right, so then I'm going to go ahead and place this out. So King's Guard 1 has 2 attack and 2 defense. He has 2 of those, and he has 8 health. So I'll shuffle up his cards. So again, I'm going to be the first player, and so I'm going to get to draw 2 tokens out of here. And I have a green sword, so that does not count against my limit. There's 1. I get 1 more chip. And it's a defense. Okay, so I've got 1 defense and 2 swords. So, how do I want to activate this? So I do have Feint, which lets me add a -1 defense to an enemy. That could be useful. It does let me attack an enemy too, so that could be good. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start with a defense. That's going to cost me 1 action, and that'll let me add 1 defensive token to my bag. And then that one would be nice, but I think at this point I'm going to go ahead and do that one again. So I'm going to go ahead and add that one. That lets me add 2 to my bag now because of that ability, or the chain ability. And then I do also want to activate an attack. So that lets me do a attack on a guard. So it's going to do 3 damage to a guard. They have 2 defense, so it's simply going to do 1 damage to the guard. And then I'm also going to go ahead and pop my thing here with the cross slash, and this one lets me attack all enemies for +1. So I'm going to do 4 damage to each enemy. Each one has 2 defense, so I'm going to drop 1 down by 1 and 1 down by 2. All right, and I do have +1 defense this turn, so I'm actually at 3. And that will end my turn. So then I'm going to go ahead and move over to the guards. So first card is a King's Guard. Chosen target is either highest attack or aggro. Attack the target. This is a shield bash. It is 2 actions. And it's +2 to his attack, so it's an attack of 4. And I have a defense of 3 this time, so I'm going to take 1 damage there. And this says choose target all enemies. And it's attack target, spinning barrage. It's 2 actions. I'm all out of actions, so he's not going to be able to carry that out. So he's going to end his turn there. So not too bad so far. And then over to this other guard here. So this is choose a target another King's Guard. So if his health is at 5 or less, which it is, it's going to be a rally. So he's going to do that. All King's Guard gain +1 actions. So go ahead and give them each another action cube. And then from there it says choose target self. If at 5 or less health, regroup. And it costs 1, heal 1, and draw a card. So he's not at 5 or less, so his turn is going to be over, and that will take care of that. Well, that's not good. All right, and then it's the cleanup phase, so they'll both get their cubes back. I'm going to get mine back. This will be put back in the supply. These two will kick down. These two get flipped over. And this goes to the exhausted section. All right, so then it is back into my turn. So I'm going to again get to draw tokens from the bag. I got a fair number in there now. Hopefully I'll pull some green ones this time. Green sword, good. Green shield, awesome. Green sword, keep it going. All right, there's my first token and second token. Oh, another shield, okay. All right, there it is. Okay, so I've got 2 shields and I have 4 swords. I'm probably going to run out of actions before I run out of things to do here. All right, so let's see what we can do. So that one would be great to be able to activate. That's going to cost that, and that's just 1, so that's good. So I think I want to do that. But I want to activate something else first so that I can benefit from that, because I think the extra action would be beneficial at this point. So I think I'm going to activate this one first. It is going to cost me a sword and 2 shields, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop 2 additional swords to count as a shield. So this one's going to let me add a red defense, -1 defense to an enemy. So I'm going to add it over to this guy here. We'll put it over here on his thing. And then the chain effect does not go off, as that one is the first one that I used, and that'll be there. And then this one, I'm going to go ahead and spend the 2 here. It's going to cost me 1 action. It's going to give me +2 defense while it is active, and it does have the chain effect that goes off, so I will get a additional action cube that I can use. And then as my last action, I'm going to go ahead and do an attack. So I'm going to do 3, and it's just going to tick him down 1 more on that one. And I have 1 action cube left that I cannot use at this point, so that will be wasted. All right, so now it's going to go over to the enemies again. So first enemy, or he's at -1, so it does drop him an extra point, so that's good. All right, so with him, it's going to target another kingsguard. If at 5 or higher, it's going to cost 2, and all kingsguard gain the thing, which, let's see. It's another kingsguard. If his health is at 5 or less, which it is not, he would perform a rally, which is going to cost 2 action points, and all kingsguard gain a green. So I don't think that goes off. So then it's going to choose a target itself. If at 5 or less, going to regroup. It's going to cost you an action. You're going to heal 1 and draw 1 card. All right, so then this one goes off. Choose another kingsguard. So it's a same exact thing. I'm still at 5 or less, so it's going to heal him 1, and he gets to draw another card. All right, so this one is highest attack or aggro. Attack target, shield bash. It is 2 actions, which he cannot perform, and it's +2, and then it chooses all enemies, attack them for 2 at +2, which again, he only has 1 action cube left, so that's going to end his turn. All right, over to my other guy. It has choose target is self, tower protection. It's going to be 1 action cube, gain 2 green or 2 blue until the start of the next turn. And if at 5 or less, regroup, heal 1, and draw 1 card, and then it's going to end his turn. So he is not at 5 or less, so he does not benefit from that. And so from there, I do want to just confirm what that is real quick. All right, so the blue cubes are blue defense cubes, and they indicate that the target's defense is temporarily increased by 1 placed on the target's defense track while active. All right, so he is going to have a very high defense this time, so definitely don't want to be hitting him. All right, so that is going to end the round. So this will get cleared away. These will also be cleared. And these will go into there. I'll get my actions back, and this is going to move over. So now I have unlocked that. Unfortunately, he's got that thing active right now, so I don't really think I want to hit him for that. So guard will get flipped over, and feint will be flipped over. So now I have to figure out what I'm going to do. All right, so I have 3 chips left in here. I could lose a health to drop the other chips back in there, but I think I'm going to be okay for right now. So I'm going to get a shield and 2 swords. So I have 1 chip left in the bag. Not much else I can do about that at this point. All right, so what to do? All right, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do... I think I'm going to go ahead and do the defense first, so it's going to cost me 1. It's going to give me +1 defense, and it's going to add a defensive chip to the bag. Then I'm going to do the critical strike. This is attack 1 enemy for +2 damage. And chain, I get to draw 2 chips from Gregory's bag. So I do chain, so I get to draw 2 chips. And I'm out of chips at this point, so I'm not going to be able to draw any more. Otherwise, I could have if they would have. Since these are green, they don't count. And that's going to be 2 action points. So I'm attacking for 5 damage. And this guy has 2 defense, so he's going to take 3. So he's down to 2. So I think I'm going to go ahead and pop the slash. So it's 4 damage. This guy's going to soak all of it, but this guy will take 2 more, and that's going to eliminate him at least. So he is going to be eliminated from there. Okay. So that's good. So I'm down to 1 kingsguard at this point. And there's not much else I can do with these. I'm out of actions. I could do a regular attack, but again, it's not going to do any damage. So I think I'm just going to hold there at this point. So these will simply be wasted and be returned to the supply. Okay, so now it's going to be his turn to go. So he's going to go ahead and reveal. He's got choose target another kingsguard. There isn't one out there, so it's not going to do anything there. Choose self. He is not below 5. So nothing's going to happen there, and it's going to end his turn. All right, so these blue are going to go away. That is everything for him. So then it's going to be a reset. So these are all going to drop down. I have no chips in the bag, so now I get to add these back for free. And I do get my actions back. And then I use the critical strike and the guard. And then this will kick down to being exhausted. All right. So back over to me. I get to draw 2. Let's see what I pull here. I have 2 swords and a single sword. So I got 3 swords all together. All right. What do I want to do here? So I do have preparation. So I think I will go ahead and do that one there. That's going to cost me 1 action cube, and it lets me add 1 to the bag. And then this one, I'll simply do a regular attack which is just going to do 1 damage to him because he's got 2 defense at this point. And that's pretty much all I can do. So I'm going to go ahead and end my turn there. I'm not at any bonuses this time, so we'll see what happens with this guy. All right, so this is the lowest defense or aggro. Intimidation, it's going to be 1 action cube. Add a red to the bag. Okay, and then attack target, it's a charging jab. It's going to cost him 2 actions, and it's at +2. So that's going to put him at 4. To my 2 defense, I'm going to take 2 damage, and that will end his turn. So that's not so good. All right, so that's the end of the round. So that gets refreshed. This will get flipped over. And now this is going to be active again. And that will go away. All right, so let's see what happens. So if I pull the red, that ends my pull, so I can't pull anymore. All right, so I got a defense, and I got the skull, so that'll end that. So I have 1 shield, which is not enough to do anything at this point. And I don't know if I want to trigger that. So I think I'm just going to pass, because there's really not much else I can do. And if I trigger that at this point, it's going to drop him down 2. And if he pulls another card with the healing on it, I don't really want that either. So I think I'll hold off till next turn and maybe be able to do a little bit more damage. So over to him. He's targeting the highest attack. It's a shield bash, which is 2 actions. It's +2 to his attack. So it's 4 to 2. So he's doing 2 more to me. Ouch. And then choose a target to all enemies. Target, it's a spinning barrage. It's 2 actions. He doesn't have enough to do it, and then he's going to end his turn. So he's able to get a couple more hits on me, so that's not so good. Again, we would reset, and there's nothing else for me to handle. So back over to drawing some new chips. So let's see if I get a little bit better this time. So I got a sword, and another sword. Okay, so that's good. I get 1 more pull, and I got a defense. Okay. So what to do here? All right, so I do have 2 swords. I could activate that. It's attacking 1 enemy for +2 damage. So that could be good. That's pretty much all. I mean, I could do any one of these. But it won't let me do much else. All right, so I think I'm going to try that. I'm going to go ahead and do the 2 to do a critical strike. It's going to cost me 2 actions. I'm going to attack 1 enemy for +2, so I'm going to be attacking him at 5. He's got 2 defense. I'm going to do 3 damage to him. And then I'm going to go ahead and trigger my ability here. So it's a +1, so it's going to be 4 damage. He's going to take 2 more, so he's got 1 hit point left. So I'm so close. So close. All right. So then he's going to go. All right. So it's highest attack target. It's going to cost him 2 action cubes. He's going to attack for 2, so I'm taking 2 more. And it's the same thing as last time, so he cannot carry out the second action, so that'll end his turn. So I've taken a pretty good amount of damage here so far. That'll go there. This goes in here. And it was the critical strike that'll kick back over. All right, I have 1 cube in here, so I'm going to take 1 damage. That'll let me add all of these back in. And then this goes to my exhausted state. All right, so come on. What do we got? There's a shield. And another shield. I got 2 shields. Okay. So it's pretty much just that one at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, which is going to give me +2 to my defense. So I'm going to have to hold off the turn and see what I can do here. All right. So with his, it's lowest defense. It's a spear thrust. It's going to cost him 1. He's +2, so it's 4 to my 4, so no damage there. If attack deals damage, I'm going to add a -1 to his attack, which it didn't. And then I choose self, bolster. It's going to be 0 action points. It's going to get him another green, so he's at 4 actions now, and that's going to end his turn. All right, so then this gets flipped back over. That kicks over there, and this will go up. He gets his back, and that's the turn. So now it's back over to us, or me. So I'm going to go ahead and draw. I have a sword and a sword, so 2 swords. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and activate that. That is going to let me add a sword to my bag, and that's my first one, so I can't do anything else with that. And I'll just go ahead and attack him as a regular one to do 1 damage, and that will be enough to take care of him. All right, so that will take care of that guard as well. And so each of the guards is going to get me 4 Lux and metal fragments. I'm going to get 2 metal fragments and 8 Lux, which is going to put me at 10. So I could actually upgrade at this point, but I think I'm going to hold out. So I do need to pull the metal fragments. And then all of this gets added back in to the bag, and then all of these get removed. Let's go up. That's been reset, and that'll go away. I'm just going to kick those up there for now. I'll roll that up. Okay, so let's see what happens. So if victorious, proceed to chapter 1.7 and victory below. So you look down at the 2 unconscious kingsguard. You are sad to see that these are the types of soldiers the King Karst has chosen to surround himself with. Hopefully men of better quality will be found in Fort Stars. Move Gregory's chip to node 33. All right, so I'm at 33, so I'm outside the gate now. So I can go ahead and remove that. And proceed to page 14, read chapter 1.8. All right, you walk along the road to Fort Stars, pondering what your next move will be. Should you persuade the guard to join you? Join you for what? To march on Stilney and to kill Tenada? Overthrow the king? You are ashamed of the thought as it crosses your mind. The truth is, you have no idea what to do next. You stop walking and close your eyes. Maybe the voice can tell you something. You take a deep breath and clear your mind. But before anything can happen, the sound of footsteps approaching from behind grabs your attention. Captain Gregory, sir? You turn to see Alec standing before you at full attention. Alec, what are you doing here? You should be guarding the wall. My shift was over and I was on the barracks when the rumors started pouring in. Captain Gregory has been exiled. Captain Gregory was seen fleeing the city. Alec stops as he notices the dirt and blood staining your clothes. Did you get in a fight, Captain? What's going on? You look at Alec up and down and sigh. The rumors are true. You can see that Alec is bursting with questions, but he lets the silence stretch out. It's a long story, you finally say, turning back to the road. Alec catches up to you and matches your stride. I think I may understand more than you think. Alec carefully reaches into his belt purse and pulls out a glowing stone. Alec, are you Stoneborn? He finishes. How? When? A few weeks ago I heard a voice and I became Stoneborn. I had a vision of a great valley where other Stoneborn were gathering, but I felt the voice telling me to wait for something, and then I saw you. Alec pauses, waiting for you to take the lead. Alec, I'm not sure what to tell you. I've tried to reason with King Cash, and I only managed to get myself exiled. I'm heading to Fort Stars for supplies, but after that I don't know where I'm headed. Well, Alec replies, wherever it is, we'll go together. Gregory heals HP to 20, so I get my HP back, and all negative chips in his bag are removed and placed back in the supply. Replace Gregory's chip with Gregory Alec miniatures on node 35. All right, so I get to add his miniature into there. So now they're a team. All right, and we're on 35. And And Alec is now part of the adventure. Follow the game setup with 2 guards. On page 17 of the rulebook, Alec begins with 20 health, 2 attack, 1 defense, and 2 action points. Alec begins the following equipment. All right, and there's that. So this gives the full setup. And he has his Stoneborn ability. Place following chip in Alec's bag and proceed to page 15 to continue reading. All right, so let me get Alec out here. And I have to push this stuff up. So the only downside to this game so far is it is a space hog. Man, this thing takes up a ton of space. So I think I can get everything in here for now. So I'm going to go ahead and bump his board up as well. And then I should be able to get Alec's in here. All right, I think everything is still on in camera. So there's his bag, and now I have Gregory's bag or Alec's bag out. And his, I've already got my chips in there. And then we're on to chapter 9 here. Okay, so move the guards to node 40 and follow the instructions for the exploration phase. So there's 40. And so I'm going to have to draw a token from the bag. And let's see what I pull here. And it's a 3 skull. Man, I am good with that. Okay. So then I have to go to the index, and let me see what we got here for node 40. 40 on 3 is a brigand marauder, a marauder, and an archer. Oof. So it's going to be 3 of them. All right. So I'm going to need a 3rd one out. And there's that one. So I'll pull that one out, and I'll just put that over here. Okay, and then I'm going to have to gain or grab the tokens for that. All right, so we're ready to move into combat now. So now that I have 2 characters out, I get to choose the order in which they're activated. And with that, that wasn't an ambush attack. Correct? I'm going to double sure here. It was node 40? No. If they were in red, then that is an ambush. So that is not. So now it is going to move into, I think I'm going to go with Alec first. And he's got some different potions that he can activate. So hopefully we'll get some good stuff here. All right. So he's going to pull 2 from the bag. He got a attack and a 2nd attack. All right, so I'll go ahead and use the 1 to add a heart to, go ahead and add it to Gregory's bag. And then that is an action cube. And then the empower, so I have to have the ability to trigger that, which I do not yet. So that's all I can do with that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do a regular attack on an enemy. So I'll just do it on one of the marauders. He's going to take 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and use reinforce. So it says attack 1 enemy for +1. And then while active, he's at +1 defense. So I'm at actually defense 2 right now. And I'm going to do 2 more to that enemy up there, as he is at +1. So he's actually 3 attack to the 1 defense. All right, so his turn is done, and at this point, since he attacked, then he is going to have the aggro. Now it's going to move over to Gregory to draw. And I forgot to flip his thing back over to his primary. So I have a double sword, a heart, and a shield. All right. So, what to do? The hearts would automatically heal me, but I'm at full health, so unfortunately that didn't help. And I do have a defense. I'm going to go ahead and activate that. Lets me add a defense token to my bag. And while I'm active, I get +1 defense. I'm actually at defense 3 right now. That was 1 action cube. And I have 2 swords, and I cannot split these up. So I could either use it to add 2 more swords to the bag, or I could do a basic attack. Well, let's go ahead and activate the cross slash first, so it attacks all enemies for +1. So I'm doing 4 to all the enemies. So that will do 3 to him, 3 to him, and 3 to her. So that was super helpful. So at this point, I can either add 2 swords to the bag, or I can attack and eliminate that brigand right off the bat, which would be pretty good, having less brigands out there. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that and simply take care of him. All right, so he is out and has been eliminated. So I'll just go ahead and drop his stuff over there, and I'll put him there for now. All right, so now it's going to file over to this guy here. So he's going to target the lowest defense, which is this guy, and I will move the aggro up. So he's going to attack the target with a sword thrust. It is 1 action. It is going to be at +2, so he's going to attack for 3. My defense is 2, so I'm going to take 1 damage. If the attack deals no damage, draw 1 card, otherwise you're going to end the turn. So it did deal damage, so I will not be drawing another card for him. So his turn is done, and then over to the archer to go, and she is going to choose a target with the highest defense, so that is going to be Gregory. And she's going to attack the target with a flaming arrow. It's 1 action. It's +2 to her attack, so she's attacking at 3. After attack, the target loses 3 health. All right, so she's doing 3. He's got a defense of 3, so he does not take any damage from that, but I think that the 3 health still triggers, so it's going to drop him down 3 from that, and then that'll end the turn. So from here, then we're going to reset everything. This goes to his discard, that goes there, that's going to go there. This will flip over. And am I missing? Yep, that goes there. Okay. All right, that is everything. So now I'm going to go with Alec's turn again. I get that, and that's everything in his bag. So I've got a sword shield and a shield. So with the shield, I can activate this one. This lets me add a green sword and shield to Alec or an ally's bag. So that's pretty good. So I think I definitely want to activate that one. So whose bag do I want to? I think I'm going to add it to Gregory's. And then I do have that one I can activate to gain a green action cube, which could be good. Otherwise, I don't really have much else to do at the moment. So I think I will do that and add a green action cube to his area. And those were 2 actions right off the bat there. And that's all I can do with Alec, and he didn't do any attacks, so he won't gain the aggro. And that's over to Gregory to go. So Gregory, let's see what you're going to pull this time. All right, I got a green shield, a sword, and a shield. All right. So I do have a shield. I can do this one. Or wait a minute. Yeah, I activated that last time. I forgot to flip it over. Yeah, because I was at +1 from last time. So that's actually over here. So this is 2 this time. So I could do that. That would give me +2 defense. Give me a pretty high defense. Could be good. And I could just add some swords to the bag, or I could just do an attack. Be able to hit somebody for a couple more points of damage. So I think I'll do that. So I'm going to go ahead and activate that, which will, that's 1 action. And well, the question is, would it be worth adding the swords to the bag or attacking? Because doing 1 damage this time wouldn't necessarily be super helpful. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Lets me add 2 swords to my bag. And that will finish off my turn. All right, so over to the Marauder. So this one is Self. It is going to be Safeguard. It's going to cost him 1 cube. And he's going to add 2 green or 2 blues to his defense until the start of the next turn. And then if at 7 or lower health, it's a bandage. So it's going to be that. And he's going to heal 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, that was not good. Over to her, she's going to target lowest health, which right now is Gregory. She's going to attack the target for arrow volley. It's going to cost 1 action cube. It's plus 2 damage, so that's 3 damage. If the attack deals damage, draw a card. It does not, because he's actually at plus 2 this time, and so that will end that. So then we're going to reset. And this gets flipped back over. This gets flipped over, and these get dropped down. Okay, same here. All right, and I think I'll have Alec go first, so he's going to add all the chips back to his bag because he has no chips in his bag. These both get activated and push back over. All right, so I've got a sword and sword, shield, and a defense. Okay. All right, so this one lets me draw the next card from the enemy bag, or from an enemy. I guess I can kind of see what's coming. So, is that the one I want to activate, I guess? This one lets me add 2 poison to an enemy, which could also be very useful. I think the emerald poison would be more useful, so I'm going to do a sword and shield and add another shield there to convert that to a sword. So it's going to add 2 poison. Poison, 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 poison. There they are. And I'll go ahead and add those to the Marauder. And I think how does that work exactly? Poison is added to a guard or enemy abilities. When drawn or placed, the target immediately loses 1 health. So he's going to immediately lose 2 for that. And that was 2 action cubes. I have 1 action left. Now that that guy's gone, I can target the archer. Before I couldn't. So I'm going to go ahead and attack her for 2 damage. So she's going to take 1. I'll go ahead and activate that. It lets me attack an enemy for 1. So I'm going to do 2 to her. And that will finish his turn, as I don't have anything else to do at this point. All right. Over to Gregory to go. Let's see what we pull for Gregory here. It's a green, green, green. Oh boy. Okay, so he emptied his entire bag out. That was pretty impressive there. So I can do pretty much anything I want almost. All right, so that enemy's got 3 defense. So I could do a big attack on that. but it's going to leave me with a ton of stuff here. Well, it's probably the best move. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for 2 actions. That's going to hit an enemy, so I'm going to choose this guy, and I'm going to do 2 damage to him with that. And then I'm going to go ahead and activate that ability. So it's going to attack all enemies for +1, so I'm doing 4, so I'm going to do 1 to him, and then she's going to be eliminated, so she's gone. All right. And that blue has really helped him out. I mean, I can also do an attack at 3, but it's not gonna get through his defense. So I'll get the aggro token back, and then all this stuff is gonna go away. Those will go there. 1, 2, 3. All right. That is it. This is going to kick down. Oh, no, not yet. I still have to do him. So let's see what he's going to do. So choose a target, next ally, which there aren't any. Diversion, it's going to cost 1 action. Ally draws 1 card and performs all actions at 0 cost. Ally cannot draw another card after actions end turn. All right, so I got lucky there. He wasn't really able to do anything. And I think these just go away then as the poison has taken its effect. Those are going to kick down. That'll kick over. We'll get our actions back. And yeah, that's it. So over to, should I have Alec go again? He's only got 1 ship in there. I could take a damage and then these will go away, because that's the end of his turn. I've got a sword, a shield, and a sword shield. I think I have 1 more sword in there. Yeah, I'll take 1. Was able to pull that right back out. Okay. So what do I want to do here? What's that one do? That's the one I really want. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and activate that. That lets me flip up to 2 non-active potion cards. And so I'm just going to flip both of these back over, because that's not any good, and I won't be able to do that this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one. It lets me add 1 to either his bag or another player's bag. I'm going to just go ahead and add it to his. And that's all he can do. So then it's going to be over to Gregory, and there's nothing in his bag, so he's going to get to add these back in there. And we've got a sword and a sword. All right, so 2 swords. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Lets me add a sword to the bag. I think with this one, I'm just going to do a regular attack to do 2 damage, and that will take that guy out and finish off that. So that combat is over. And now it's time to collect. So each one of these guys is going to get us 2 lucks. So we're up to 14 there. And she's going to get 2 as well, so 16. And it's 3 sil apiece, so we're going to be at 12 sil. Okay. And then this is all going to get added back to the box. So where were we at? All right, so we did that. So once completed, move the guards to node 48. place the Fort Stars mini map on the table and move the guards to the north gate. And then I'll read the below section here. So I got to grab that. And I'm on the north gate. All right. So now we're on to this. So as you walk alongside the captain, you periodically glance over, trying to decipher what he's thinking. His face is unreadable. His face is an unreadable mask, but you can sense the determination emanating from him with each step. You manage to keep mostly silent, allowing the captain space for his thoughts, and then suddenly you arrive. The high walls and towers of Fort Stars always manage to make you feel safe. Standing before them now, they seem cold and menacing. The unusual hubbub surrounding the fort is gone now, replaced by the icy silence. Gregory lets the silence stretch out before shouting, "Open the gate! Would you have your captain stand out in the cold?" After a moment, a dark figure comes to stand above the gate, leering down at you. "Captain, that's an interesting thing to call yourself. I had a little bird tell me that you are captain no longer." "Akiv, then you also heard that the king is graciously allowing me to gather supplies before my exile." "That's Captain Akiv to you, and yes, I will allow you to gather a few supplies. After all, I still know how to follow king's orders. I'll even let you bring your little friends." As the gate cracks open, Captain Gregory speaks to you. You're sure you want to cast your lot with me. There's no going back from here. My lot is with the Stoneborn, and that means you. This is bigger than even Isofar now. Captain Gregory takes a look at you and nods before stepping through the gate. All right, so move the guards to Fort Stars courtyard mini-map. So we're at the courtyard. And proceed to page 16 and read chapter 1.10. All right. So with this one, as you pass through the gates, you are surprised to see the courtyard filled with what must be every guard at the fort. They seem to be split into two groups. The larger group surrounding Captain Akiv, facing down at a much smaller group near the west gate, perhaps 20 guards. Akiv locks eyes with you, only speaking when you are a few paces away. "Gregory, it's good to see you again. Tell me, how has my son been doing under your command?" A sudden shift in the tone throws you. Your thoughts flick back to Yuri, young and eager, now Stoneborn. "Yuri is young," you reply, "but he is a strong heart. With more experience, I believe he will make an excellent leader someday." "I must tell you," Akiv sneers, "I'm glad that he wouldn't be getting that experience from you. You see, he's always struck me as a bit dull." At this, the guards behind Akiv begin to chuckle. Akiv continues, "I think my boy Yuri needs a stronger hand to guide him now. Someone who isn't content to merely guard the borders. Isofar is safe and prosperous," you reply. "I do everything to ensure that it remains that way. The Felman threat has been hanging over our heads for generations. You were never willing to do what was needed to be done. But I will end the threat once and for all. You are speaking of war with Fenin? That is madness." "Well, Gregory, the secret to being a truly great leader just so happens to be a little bit of madness." Akiv smiles and turns to the guard nearest him. Throw him his supplies and send him on his way. A good captain, ex-captain is boring me." The guard lobs a small pouch, which you snatch out of the air. You turn over the pouch and a single gold coin flips into your palm. Gain 1 sil. So I'm at 13. "For services rendered," Akiv says. "Goodbye, Gregory. Don't forget to bring your pet soldier with you when you leave." A shout bursts forth from the smaller group of guards chumped near the gate. "Gregory is a rightful captain." Immediately 200 swords were drawn and leveled at the rogue group of guards. You desperately try to intervene. "No, my friends, I am your captain no longer. King Tash himself has ordered it. The best thing you can do for Isofar now is to serve honorably under Akiv." Gregory, laughs Akiv. "I just don't know what to do with you. Since I'm feeling generous today, I won't kill you and your little sycophants where you stand. Instead, I offer you my mercy." As Akiv speaks, he singles out the small group of rebel Guards with a slow sweep of his sword. You will join your precious captain in his exile. You will wander as outcasts in the foreign land until you die alone or forgotten. Your children will forget your faces. Your families will live in disgrace and curse your name, and your line will end. You will be erased from history. And if any of you ever foolish enough to try and come back here, you and your entire family will be hauled to the nearest town square and slaughtered as a warning to those who would betray us so fair. The only thing that softens the blow is the hope that there will be no bloodshed today. Rather than risking any further discussion with Akev, you simply turn to usher Alec and the new guards out of the gate. Something is off with Alec or Akev. You take a final look at him, but the person staring back at you is no longer the Akev you know. Move the guards to node 63. 63, so that's going to be outside of the gate, so there. And proceed to page 17 and read 1.11. So we're almost through with the tutorial here. So the mood is sober as you walk along the coastal road with your fellow exiles. Gregory thought it was best to get as far away from Fort Stars as possible before stopping to come up with a more permanent plan. You have taken the time to get to know some of the guards better, and there are a few familiar faces in the group. Baron, who helps in the smithery sometimes. Kellen, an excellent swordsman. Daniel, always ready with a clever remark, but nice enough to get away with it. Other faces are familiar, but you don't place names with them. But there, speaking with Gregory, is a face you've never seen before. A new recruit, maybe. As you approach them, the new recruit turns and greets you. Ah, welcome, Alec. It's nice to finally meet you. It's nice to meet you, too. Have we met before? I mean, no, I guess you just implied we haven't, but then how do you know my name? When you get around as much as I do, you get to know a lot of things, he answers. Rather than bore you with how I know your name, I should think you'd be more interested in where we go from here. You look at Gregory. What is he talking about, Captain? Who is this? I think it's best if you just show him what you showed me, Gregory says to the man. Very well, the man replies. He steps down and plunks an ordinary stone off the ground and holds it before you. Slowly, the stone begins to change before your eyes. A faint light emits from the center of the stone, building with intensity, until you are forced to shield your eyes. There is a sudden flash of light that pierces your eyelids, and then it's over. Then you open your eyes. A steadily glowing, speaking stone rests in the man's hands. It's a speaking stone, but how do you know it was there? It wasn't there. The stone appears when there is a need. A man pauses before continuing. You have heard the voice speaking to you from the stones, yes? Yes, you reply cautiously. No need to fear, Alec. I am an emissary of the one behind that voice. The man pauses, allowing the words to sink in, and a sudden realization of the man's importance smashes into you. Now that you are aware, you can sense the power flowing from him. You awkwardly stumble, simultaneously trying to bow and shake his hand. Failing both, you manage to ask, Sir, what do we call you? I am no king, merely a guide. The man raises his gaze, and you realize that everyone has stopped speaking, and all eyes have locked on the stranger. You may call me Dumas. The man begins. I have been sent to you because the need is great. There is a darkness that has long plagued the edges of the world, and you have seen its effects in men like Captain Akev. But this is just the beginning. This darkness, Tembris, is no longer content to hide in the shadows. It has chosen this time to strike out at all of Telos. Its goal is to bring every man, woman, and child and beast under its sway. But you have access to a greater power. In time, you will learn to use this power to its fullest potential. Until that time, a place has been set aside for you to gather your strength. Follow me, and I promise you will not meet the shadow unprepared. Place a narrative chip on 102. So 102 is way down here. Somewhere. There it is. Okay. And the tutorial is now complete. Begin the exploration phase. And it tells you what to do. Now that you've completed a few battles, you may have enough Lex to unlock one of the guard's skills trees. We recommend unlocking Alec's combined guard ability card first, which costs 10. This card allows you to use his keyword Empower See pages 28 and 29 of the rulebook. Upon arrival to node 103, place the Fort Istra minimap on the table, remove all building pieces from the board and place them aside. Move the guards to Fort Istra, North Gate. Proceed to page 19 and 20 and chapter 2.1. Well, I think that's a good spot to stop for the video. Let me know in the comments down below if you would like me to continue this campaign and what your thoughts on this so far are. I am new to the game, so I'm still working through some of the rules, so let me know in the comments if you noticed I did anything wrong so that I can make sure that I correct those problems going forward if I continue with this video series. And let me know again what your thoughts are on this one. Are you backing this one? Why or why not? Or have you backed it, and do you have your copy, and what are your thoughts on it? Are you enjoying the campaign so far? What are your favorite parts of the game? I'd love to start a conversation in the comments down below. Let me know, and until next time, I'll see you later.